Yes, people, we are live back at the Albertjtv household. People, end of season review. But before we get into it, let's hit that intro one more time. Yes, people, welcome back to Albertjtv. As I like to say, the Southeast London red carpet. End of season review. The 2021-22 Premier League season is done. We know who are the champions. Congratulations, Manchester City. We know who is in the top four. We know who's been relegated. Bye-bye to Burnley after so many years. People, as I always say, don't just hit the like button. Smash the like button and get them algorithms up. As you will see, my Instagram and my Twitter, if you don't follow me already, is going along the bottom of the screen and follow me straight away. People, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you to the recent subscribers in recent weeks and months. It is gratefully appreciated because there are so many bloody YouTube channels out there to keep up with. So, you know what? People's time is everything. Trust me. So yeah, man, end the season review. Oh, where do I start, man? Let me see if someone's in the comments really. Don't ignore the people in the comments. It's but the Tottenham wife joined me. Let me see. Me and Jay got you on the big screen with popcorn ready. Well, hopefully, I don't know what size screen you've got, but hopefully my head doesn't show up too big on there. So, but I'm sure it won't. But thank you, Holly, my Tottenham wife, for tuning in. Big up Jay as well. We need to arrange a link up for next season sometime or in the summer. Yes, Lord G, Granville G, the main man. Thank you, brother. Yeah, people, end the season review, man. As you can see, I've decorated the office behind me with the legendary Ian Wright and obviously my logo blurring out on my left-hand shoulder, left over my left shoulder as you watch the screen. But yeah, end the season review. So people, it's a bit bittersweet, really, to be honest with you. I think I went to the last game in the season against Everton. Big up to the Arsenal Twitter family who I met some people for the first time and link ups again from previous times. But I think the defeat against Newcastle was still lingering over the Emirates pre-match and afterwards. And it's difficult to shake that kind of result out of your system. I mean, there's nothing you can do because it's done. We lost. It was a big game of football that we didn't turn up for. And that wasn't just the first time either, if you look at the Tottenham game as well. And being at the game on Sunday against Everton, they've survived relegation by obviously beating Palace the game before. And you know, if any Arsenal fan is honest, right? If you genuinely thought Norwich City were going to do us a favor and beat Tottenham in the last game of the season, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. It was never going to happen. Absolutely not. And I see a lot of people go, "Oh, you know, Tottenham don't deserve it." And the thing is, the league table doesn't lie. End of story. Arsenal fans, you have to suck it up. As tough as it is to take, we weren't good enough for top four in the league. And I think it burns even more because obviously it's our rivals in Tottenham. I heard people say that if it was another club, it wouldn't feel so bad. I completely disagree with that. I've got to say that. It hurts more because it's Tottenham. But if anybody finished above us when we had 4 points ahead of them with 3 games to go, I'll be absolutely devastated. I don't care if it's Tottenham, Accrington Stanley, the local team at Hackney Marshes, it's still going to burn deep. But people, before I get even more into it, let me go to the chat quickly. Tom, that's it, man. My Tom, you're my new man crush, man. I know you're laughing when you really hear me say that, but Tom, much love to you, brother, man. Probably a good thing you didn't come to the game on Sunday. I know we won, but yeah, just the feeling, mate, around the ground. It was it was what could have been, which I think sums it up perfectly. Um, Holly, I'm glad you appreciate it, even though you support them lot down the road. But yeah, it's about time to, with the green screen, right? I'll be honest with you, I've actually had it for quite a long time. I just was very lazy with it, and I gave myself a talking to about a couple of months ago. I said, Albert, bloody use it because it's good for visual stuff. So, people, I'm glad you appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, if I sort of rewind back in terms of season expectations, people drop some questions in the chat. I will try and answer them as I go along, and because I'm good at multitasking sometimes. Sort of season ambitions to start the season. My own personal opinion, where I was asked by so many people, and just how I generally felt about Arsenal going into the season. Even saying strange to say last season, isn't it? When it only finished on Sunday, but you know what I mean. I didn't think Arsenal would get top four. I thought they would get European football, but I wasn't confident. I'll be honest with you. I even said that probably before our summer signings, when we did get the summer signings in. But you know what? I thought, let me take a back seat. Let me sit back and soak it in, and just let's see how the new players who have come in, i.e., Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, and Ben White, how they get on, and obviously Nuno Tavares as well. But even sort of through the course of the season, I thought it'd be a season where it would fluctuate. And what I mean by that is Arsenal will go from fourth to fifth to sixth to seventh to fifth to fourth. It was like that for a period of the season. But the problem is people will mention that famous C word when it comes to Arsenal: consistency, or the two is lack of consistency. Go on a run of games, fans get gassed, fans get excited, fans get hyped. Then we go on a poor run, and then fans get angry, and then you see the social media outpour on Twitter and Instagram, especially Twitter. And it's I've always said about Arsenal, I don't know what you guys feel in the chat. I find it difficult to like the team sometimes, man. Maybe it's because of my age, and I grew up luckily enough, even I was quite young, to see the likes of Wrighty and Kevin Campbell and Merson and Kevin Richardson and Paul Davis and David O'Leary, where Rocastle, obviously can't forget Rocky, right? And you had a love and a pull to these players. I to be fair, people talk about positives of Arsenal, and there's not many, to be honest with you, in my humble opinion. But the reconnect between the fans and the players, people can't deny that's a massive thing. That is a plus point. There's many other points we can look at in terms of things need to be worked on from on the pitch to off the pitch, but in terms of bringing the fans together, obviously the Louis Dunford song, and the atmosphere around the Emirates, I don't know how you guys feel it's been this season, but it's a lot better than I've ever witnessed going to that ground. It's a lot more camaraderie there. I think you're always going to get toxicity in the fan base. I don't think that's just exclusive to Arsenal. We feel it more, we see it more because we're Arsenal fans. So that's why you see it on the platforms. You're like, you know what, give social media a break, because it can get tiresome, man. It's draining. But let me come to the chat quickly. Exactly, Trev. Exactly. Trev, much love to you, man. Thank you. Great to see you again yesterday. People, go and subscribe to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Ferguson, Trevs, love you. Charlie, my boy, man. Charlie. Bruv, I've been keeping the eye, man. I know we support different teams in different leagues, but you're absolutely smashing the content with Bristol Rovers, man. I even peeked in when you had the interview with the was it the Bristol Rovers goalkeeper? So keep up doing amazing what you're doing, mate. And congratulations again to your team getting that unbelievable last day automatic promotion to win 7-0. At that, I've never seen anything like it, mate. So big up to you, man. Keep striving, bro, and always keep the haters at arm's length. That's what I always say. Big up to Russ in the chat as well. Go on, Russ Morgan. So yeah, man. Sort of like I was going to back before in terms of season ambitions. Like I said about, I find it very difficult to like the team, but obviously, as Trev I think alluded to, always love the club. 100%, mate. 100%. But to get to a stage in the season where we put ourselves into top four contention, over a period of time was remarkable to me, because I didn't see Arsenal doing it. I just didn't. I don't think we had a strong enough squad. I thought our first 11 was good at best if they all play on song and give you 7 and 8 out of 10s. But I just couldn't see Arsenal getting a top 4 finish. I'll be honest with you. And I kind of was adamant, really, until probably about maybe even 3 or 4 weeks left of the season. I thought Arsenal might just nick it, and that for me to say that was a struggle. But I guess sort of going through the season, sorry, so particularly the top 4, sorry, and people make reference back to January. Now, I've heard everybody's points of views, from smaller YouTubers to bigger YouTuber channels, in terms of the January transfer window and what they thought. And the thing is, Arsenal were, well, it's a bit later in the window, because obviously we got knocked out of both domestic cup competitions in January, and obviously we had the transfer window in January, and we went into New Year's Day against Man City, which we played well, but we lost the game. But it was obvious to everybody this Arsenal squad needed a bit of help. We knew he wasn't going to keep Aubameyang, and it's not an issue moving him on, but you have to bring someone else in the striking department, because, as I've alluded to throughout this season, I said that with various amount of podcasts I've done, whether that's me on my own or people that have come on the panel, go and look at Arsenal's goals for record in the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. I think we scored 6 more goals than last year, from last season, from the season before. But if you look at the previous seasons, we've got a reduction in goals. So even with Aubameyang, it's still been an issue, because we were too reliant on him, and there wasn't enough goals and key intricate moments in the team other than him. And that's the problem. People have said it for years. We have to go back to days of Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Pires for players that were attacking players but were hitting double figures and good numbers in terms of assists. We don't have that. And to be fair to ESR and Saka this season, I know people make the comparisons in terms of, if you look at other front threes in the leagues, and I don't know, your Jared Bowens, your Emmanuel Dennis's, I think even probably your Timar Pukis at Norwich, even though they've done terrible. ESR and Saka have done okay. They've both hit double figures for goals. They probably would have had more assists, to be honest with you, if Arsenal finished their chances when they did have them. And I still think he could have ended up, realistically, from the games I've seen him play this season, he could have ended up with at least 15, 16 goals. And easily 5 or 6 goals more. Same with ESR. But they've done okay. They've done their bit. The ironic thing is, our forwards haven't done their bit. I think what did Eddie end up with goals? Was it 10 for the season, not including Premier League? I think Lacazette was 6. You can't have your 2 front men going through an entire season, especially when you've been dumped out of both domestic cup competitions in January and no European football, and they haven't even hit a total between them of 20 goals. That's not acceptable at any football club, let alone Arsenal. So January was the one. It was, if Arsenal Football Club are honestly going to tell fans, because this is what I kind of understood, maybe I'm wrong, people tell me in the chat, that there was nobody available. If somebody was available, Arsenal would have got them. Me personally, I think it's total rubbish. Absolute poppycock. I was going to swear even more strenuously, but I'm not going to do that because it's on Facebook Live as well. But the way I look at it, I said this at the time. When you look at other clubs, now someone said to me, someone said to me, "Oh yeah, but Newcastle will get a relegation and Brighton are just sort of scraping top 10." I said, you're missing the point. What Newcastle did, what Brighton did, even Liverpool to a certain extent by getting Diaz. City bought Alvarez, but he's obviously, he's gonna feature more next season. They addressed the areas of the pitch that they needed to address. We didn't do that. We took a policy, which I've never ever seen in a transfer window, is to let players go out on loan to reduce the wage bill and leave us short. knowing we was in a top 4 race to get Champions League football. To me, I don't need to be a businessman to see that is absolute lunacy. How are Arsenal going to sustain that? You know, we do have a young team or squad, whatever way you want to phrase it. So give them a bit of help, bringing some experience. You're trying to tell me you could not have bought nobody in the whole of Europe or South America or somewhere or other leagues in the world to come and help out this young team for at the best part of what, January to May, 4-5 months. Come on, Arsenal, man. This is not acceptable. This is pathetic, to be honest with you. You couldn't bring in anybody. Come on, man. Struggling to score goals. I've outlaid it earlier in terms of we're down on goals scored in the Premier League for the last few seasons, even when we had the Aubameyang here. So how can you turn around and say to us as Arsenal fans that, oh, if they're out there available to get, we'll get them? To me, they're lying. They're lying, mate. Absolutely. But yeah, let me just calm down a little bit, man. Before I get off to, I'll big up G in the chat. Let me go to the chat quickly, man. Big up my boy Charlie if you're still watching, mate. Russ, I said, yeah, G, I hear you, bro, but this team I like more than recent sides. 100%. The likes of people like Ramsdale, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, they have something about them that you can get behind them. I'm not saying you should never not get behind your players. Let me make that very, very clear. But I'm talking about having a love for. Yes, when I started supporting Arsenal, we were successful in periods. I would say probably 3 different periods, but you get what I mean in terms of the way we performed over season in Premier League. It's sometimes it's a very difficult watch of Arsenal, and the football got worse, to be honest. Some decent players and a great core of youth. Club need to add real quality. They will contribute to squad depth, 100%. Anthony, my Instagram brother, thank you, bro. Big up Alba. I wanted top 4, but we bottled it. But I don't think Arteta wanted 4th because he's only got a certain amount of budget to spend. And you know what, Anthony, you say something right, and I agree with you. When you're in a position when you're 4 points ahead with 3 games to go to cement Champions League football, and you finish 5th, and I take into consideration we have some very good talented players at Arsenal, but we bottled it. Now that triggers a lot of Arsenal fans, but there's not a polite way to say you bottled it. There's a stronger way to say you bottled it, which I'm not going to use certain words on my channel to say that. But the cold, hard facts is we did bottle it. And the thing that concerned me, right, people in the chat and people watching this on YouTube and Facebook Live, is when I looked at the 10 games to go we had, right, the 10 cup finals, and I put a tweet out and an Instagram post saying 30 points on offer. What do you think Arsenal will need to get in order to cement top 4? Now, looking at the last sort of 4 or 5 Premier League seasons, people, I think other than Chelsea, I think last season and the season before, they got under 70 points, which was quite rare. 67 and 66 points in 2 successive seasons, and to get 4th. And Arsenal finished on 61 and 56. But 70 points normally should get the job done, and it would have got the job done. When I looked at the 10 fixtures, if anybody said to me, I said at the time when Arsenal's first 3 fixtures, the Brighton game, the Southampton game, and who else did we lose to, and the Crystal Palace game, I said Arsenal would take minimum 7 points out of 9. I didn't think we beat Palace, and I thought we beat Brighton and Southampton, and we absolutely blew those 3 games. And then we go on a run where we win 4 on the spin. And then we think, wow, this Arsenal side, you just don't know what you're going to get. But I've heard people say it, with a young side, you're going to get dips in performance because the experience, or there's not enough experience in the team and the squad in order for us to win certain games or win big football matches. So to win 4 on the spin, to beat Chelsea, to beat West Ham, to beat Manchester United was massive, absolutely massive. To follow it up with just got over the line against Leeds. But I look at the performances against Tottenham where you had two experienced players, by the way, make mistakes that cost us in that game. I look at so I won't use the Tottenham game so much because we're down to 10 men for a large chunk of it, but we started like after the first 15, 20 minutes, they got the first goal, the game was done. Absolutely done. Tottenham sense. Blood got the second goal, killed the game off. But I've got to be honest, and people who watch my content, big up to you. That performance against Newcastle, knowing what was riding on the game, was soul destroying to watch. It was soul destroying. I saw it, and it wasn't like we had some experienced players playing, but what I would say is people in regards to our defense, because we got injuries were going to happen through the course of the season. That's understandable. We understand that, but we got some really bad points. I mean, you think about it, really, when is that Newcastle game? Let's be honest, right? Ben White didn't come on against Tottenham because he wasn't ready. Obviously, Rob Holding got sent off. Gabriel came off against Tottenham. Tomiyasu has come back from a long-term injury and still isn't right. So that's three of your key defensive unit, not 100% going into your biggest game of the season to cement top four. Even with that, we just wasn't, and obviously Ramsdale on top of that in terms of his form. Listen, I love Aaron. I call him Rambo Ramsdale. I love him. If I would listen, I would adopt him if I could. I love him that much. But even towards the back end of the season, he's kicking and distribution. I don't know what's happened to him. Is it cockiness? Is it the fact that Arsenal's clean sheets are dried up and there's been a slight change in maybe centre back pairings? There's a culmination of different things. But that performance against Newcastle, especially that second half, I don't know what Mikel Arteta could have said or would have said to him, but it actually made no difference because I actually thought we got worse. And that was a tough defeat to take. I felt for the Arsenal fans that went to that game at Newcastle on a Monday night. It's tough when you see a performance like that, and then you kind of really effectively know, even though we've got one game to play against Everton, and we're could Norwich beat Tottenham? You think, you know what, this top four race is done. It's absolutely done and dusted. Let me come to the chat quickly. Let me not neglect my chat. I love the people in the chat. Russell, when we bought against Newcastle, won the Spurs, we looked scared. Yeah, I didn't see a team in Arsenal that day who it's tough for me to say, Russ, but it concerned me even more so in the second half, considering Mikel Arteta would have had an opportunity to get him in at halftime and try and address what was going wrong in the first half. Newcastle played well. Let me not take away from Newcastle. They were excellent. And I think the thing is, we've got a very good record at St. James's Park. I think they only beaten us, not including when they beat us recently, but once in nine games. But as I mentioned before, this is not a Newcastle side under Steve Bruce or an Adam Pardew or a Sam Allardyce. Eddie Howe has been fantastic for them this season. They look a completely different team, playing Joel Linton in midfield. Callum Wilson misses a plethora of football and months of football, comes back and absolutely destroys us. So it was a tough one to watch, man. Big up Fergus. Spurs away was highly influenced by the ref and that pen. Yeah, the pen killed that game, man. Absolutely killed it. I know there's still time, by the time they score, I can't remember when the penalty was scored. Time-wise, Fergus remind me, but you kind of felt this could turn pretty quickly, and it did when they got the second goal. And what a surprise, Harry Kane. Pain in the ass. Cedric would make any defensive keeper feel nervous. It's strange with him, with Cedric, because he's meant to be experienced. And I actually think over a gradual number of weeks, I thought he got worse. And I'm thinking, you're not playing. I could even get it if you're playing out of position at left back, but you're playing in your natural position, and you're not giving the defense any confidence. You're meant to be one of our experienced players. You've been playing in the Premier League a long time, so yeah, it was mad. 20 minutes, yeah, and then they got the second goal not too long after, unfortunately. But yeah, so for Arsenal to take 15 points out of a possible 30 is not acceptable. It's definitely, for me, it's unacceptable. And the thing is, You could probably get away with 15 points out of 30 if you're trying to avoid relegation. But when you're going for a top four battle, um, and you take 15 points out of a possible 30, that's not good enough. I look at the fixtures, right? And for me, everybody has their fixture where Arsenal could have lost this top four race. I thought the Brighton home defeat was a killer. To lose to a team that hadn't scored in, was it 7 matches? Um, hadn't won a game of football for quite a few months. That was a killer, an absolute killer. They deserved to beat us, to be honest with you. They was much better than us. And it just, yeah, I look at the fixture, I think, you know what, that is the game that absolutely ruined us. But then, if you're going to be blunt about it, it was a Newcastle game. It definitely was a Newcastle game. But yeah, the Brighton game, that was an absolute killer, absolute. Yeah, and then they went and then they went and got and beat Spurs. Trossard, like, wow, football. Honestly, man, some of the results we've seen this season. But people, as I say, thank you for people in the chat. Great interaction. Love doing the one-to-ones, man. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure doing them. But people, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do. And there you have it once again, people. Like, share, and subscribe. So yeah, end the season. So it's an interesting one because for the guys that did manage to go to the Everton game, last game of the season, it's amazing what one result can do actually to a fan base, in the sense of, for the guys that go, the regular season ticket holders go home and away, or myself as a red member, going when I can. And luckily this season, thanks to my mate who's a season ticket holder who couldn't get to a lot of the games, I got to go to a lot more of the home games I would ever do. So big up to you, Daryl, mate, if you see this. But like I said, I think there was a hangover from the Newcastle game. And there was at times watching that game against Everton, it was a bit of a procession. It felt like a bit of a pre-season game, really, because Everton was safe. And actually, you know what? I think they're lucky that they beat. It's a good thing they got a result against Crystal Palace to stay out, because I tell you what, from what I saw of that Everton side, and I've seen them play a few times this season, they are incredibly poor, very, very poor side. How we let the goal into, to go in at halftime 2-1 is beyond me, because that game should have been out of sight, to be honest with you. Odegaard was a bit more featured a little bit more than he did in the recent games, which is a shame, because you would have wanted to see that performance against Newcastle and Spurs. But it's come and it's gone now. But yeah, that game, it was kind of. I'll give you an example, right? So, luckily, I was, I did some. I was doing some. I was obviously doing it uncensored for Albertjtv. Big up Albertjtv, Dan and Lee. And football opinions is crazy, isn't it? It's because with me, I don't know, for guys that see my content or see how the way I interact on, not so much Instagram, because that's a completely different platform from Twitter, but people that see me interact on Twitter, I don't do the sort of overly positive for the sake of being positive. If you're going to look at it in simplistic layman's terms, 8th, 8th, and 5th, the famous P word, progress. I'm not going to argue with somebody. If they feel happy that we've gone from 8th to 5th, and they feel happy about that, what am I going to tell them? They're not going to change their mind, are they? Or you look at it and go, look, Arsenal got 8 more points than last season. Arsenal got 13 clean sheets in the Premier League. I can't argue with those facts, because they're right. I mean, I think Tom, if you're in the chat, I think Tom you pointed out the other day in terms of this is the most clean sheets we've had since, I think you said 16, 17 or 14, 15. I can't remember. So those things I can't argue with. It's facts. However, the January transfer window, 4 points, had 3 games to go. You can't, it's for me, it's difficult to be upbeat about a 5-1 home win against Everton when we put in such a lackluster performance against Newcastle in the biggest game of the season. I can't just brush it off like that. I can't. So just as I'm not going to impose my opinion to try and convince somebody, the same thing is to those that say, no, yeah, but there has been improvement, eighth and fifth back in Europe. I can't argue with that. But where we could have been and where we should have been, it was a missed opportunity. And that's the problem. So listen, I can get over things reasonably quickly, as much as it annoys me with some of the results Arsenal have thrown in this season. But yeah, it was interesting to see some of the opinions of the Arsenal fans in terms of Arteta and has this season been a success and what's the ambitions for next season. And it's difficult because I look at it, right, and I say to myself, people go, if people already asked me already, what's the what should your expectations be for next season? Now, when you asked me last season, I said Arsenal wouldn't get top four, but they'll probably get back into the Europa League, just because we're not actually in European competition. And obviously we got dumped out by Forest in the FA Cup. Wow, again, but I just think I'm concerned going into next season. I am very, very concerned. I'm concerned for Mikel Arteta. I just think where this season was such a missed opportunity, we're back in Europe, more games, teams in and around us. I'm not talking about the likes of Liverpool, Man City will always gradually improve anyway. And in terms of Liverpool, even buying Diaz, who's been fantastic for them, by the way, he's been a brilliant signing to hit the ground running like that in January. But it's lost my train of thought really, but no, it's I'm concerned. I'm concerned. That's what I'm saying. I'm concerned about next season because I think I can make a better informed decision when we see who Arsenal are going to get. It's very, very now. Someone asked me, that was it. Someone asked me, they said to me, how many players do Arsenal realistically need? And there's so many different ways you can ask that question, because I would look at it and say, well, if you're talking about going into a new season, ideally in the summer, I want to see minimum 4 players come in. Then, depending how Arsenal were doing come December, January, that's always a point of the season where people pinpoint or earmark. If Arsenal, for me, irrespective whether they're doing well or they're not, whether they're probably in and around 6th or 7th position come December, January, or we're 5th and on the cusp of top 4, for example, go and strengthen. Add a couple more in there. I don't want to hear any more. There's too many excuses. I don't want to hear any more about January's a difficult transfer window. It's supposed to be difficult. It's a transfer window, summer or January. I don't want to hear about we don't want to make the same mistakes as before. Rubbish. There are people in charge to make sure that those mistakes do not happen. But that doesn't give you an excuse to turn around and say to us as fans that there was nobody available to buy in January, or the fact that if somebody was out there, we would have done it. What are you talking about? There's other clubs that were in a lower position than us in the league that strengthened. Then people come back and go to me about West Ham didn't strengthen. Is it my business, or do I care that West Ham didn't strengthen? I'm not a West Ham United fan. To their detriment, they should have strengthened, because it would have given them it probably would have given them a better chance to win the Europa League, and even probably still to sustain a top 4, top 5 finish in the league. But that's on them. I'm not a West Ham fan. But what my issue is that there's clubs at different spectrums of the league that addressed key areas of their playing squad. We never done that. And for me, that's unacceptable. And again, no disrespect to American boys that we signed in Austin Trusty and the goalkeeper Matt Turner. No disrespect to them, but to ask, listen, they always say sometimes, right? Um, Even when you win a league title or you have a good season, winning trophy, you have to strengthen from a position of strength. And we was in that position come the beginning of January, and we chose not to do it. We gambled and it backfired 100%, 100%. But yeah, man, I'm concerned. But yeah, I said four. I would say realistically, I would expect to see four players coming. Now, if you want to be gospel and believe, you know, every nook and cranny of what's coming out of Arsenal in terms of they've identified their targets, they know who they want, things have been put in place. I would expect to hear that kind of talk because these are why these guys are in charge. I don't expect them to ever come out and turn around and say, yeah, we're a bit undercooked in the summer. The planning and the preparation hasn't gone well. And also, of course, you still got William Saliba to come back. That's going to turn into one of the biggest mysteries I've ever seen in my life of an Arsenal player. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? It literally depends what report you believe. But one thing we do know, and people can criticize the quality and the strength of the French league. But, however, he's had a very good season and he's been called up into the French squad. The same, obviously, with Guendouzi as well. So you can criticize a league, whether it be Serie A or La Liga or Eredivisie, but listen, I'm not going to be so dismissive to say, oh, because it's the French league. No, he's played well from the people I've spoken to that watch French football and from the word you hear on the street in terms of reporters and people involved in the media that he's had a good season. And you know what? Long may it continue at Arsenal if he comes back if he's fortunate enough to come back and wear an Arsenal shirt. So time will tell the Saliba thing. That's going to run and run and run. So I don't expect any different with that, to be honest with you. But let me come to the chat quickly. I don't want to ignore you guys in the chat, man. No way, mate. No way. Let me go. Let me see. Let me go. 2 6. Good for you, Wobie. I know he gave us a penalty as well, didn't he, Wobie, with the handball? I mean, when I saw that, I thought, like, they're definitely going to overturn that. Trust me. As funny as it may sound, we didn't draw enough games. No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. 13 defeats, man. Wow, that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot of defeats, man. Mad. Clever loan moves work. Look at what Conte did with the Swedish lad, and now they have signed permanently. And that's the thing, like, for example, with Tottenham, right? I know some of their fans. They was very, very unhappy with their transfer of business in January. Very, very unhappy. But you know what? To be fair, Kulusevski and Bentancur have been excellent for them. Because they added a bit more bite to the team and a bit more option and a bit more. Bentancur's a very good passer of the ball. He's very controlled on the ball. He's very, very cultured on the ball. Kulusevski, I didn't know much about. He's been very, very good for Spurs. From what I hear from Holly still in the chat and a few other people. But let me go back there. Russ, 4 players that are ready for now, obviously. Yeah. Tariq, man, long time, bruv. Much love, brother. Got to get you on, man. We definitely have to collab come the next season, man. I say it's end of season review, but my work is not done in terms of my channel because I will be covering the women's Euros, which I'm looking forward to doing. Actually, I've watched England Lionesses for a number of years, going way back. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. Something very different, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. We've done one clever loan move in the past, like Erdegaard. Yeah, true to it. Yeah. In terms of players, right? Every Arsenal fan has their shopping list. I'm going to wrap up soon because I'm absolutely starving like Marvin. But big up to you people in the chat for tuning in. Much appreciated. People who are watching on Facebook and on YouTube and on the Twitter feed as we speak. So appreciate that, man. Absolutely. On a Wednesday night, because I know it's soap night as well. So I know some people might want to watch that instead. But yeah, so I said this on Fergus's show yesterday. I look at players now. I did a show on Lee Judge TV with Rowan, and we was talking about the striker option before the season was done. Who we would like, and we went through some of the players. Went through Osserman, we went through Jonathan David, Patrick Schick, Tammy Abrahams. I think they were the main ones. Yeah, and I look at the. I'll tell you who I would want. I'll tell you who I'd want. Everybody's going to reel off names on Twitter in the next 2 or 3 weeks or next month or two. You guys will see it. You know it. Big up to you people in the chat. Tell me what you think and drop some names if you want. So I said 4 players, didn't I? I'm going to mention a few, but there's the ones I would say. Who I would personally want. I'm not saying Arsenal will go and do it. So people in the chat don't come for me when you watch it back or whatever. Jesus, Tammy Abraham, Tielemans, because we can't get Boubacar Kamara because from Marseille, who's a baller, by the way, excellent player. He's gone to Villa. That's a massive coup for them if it's finalized. I think it's more or less done. And I think they got James Tarkowski as well. So Villa are moving fast, man. So yeah, Gabriel Jesus, Tammy Abraham, Yuri Tielemans, and go and get me James Justin from Leicester. Yeah, 100%. Listen, I would love a Tyreek Mitchell from Palace. I think he's been excellent for 2 years. Mark Cucurella at Brighton. That I think would definitely not happen, but just because he's been fantastic for Brighton this season, very, very good. But yeah, James Justin, actually, to be fair to him, he had a very, very serious injury at Leicester, but before that, he was doing excellent. And he can play right back and left back. I think. Listen, I don't know what his contract situation is at Leicester. Arsenal, go and test the waters. Go and test the waters. So those 4 players, top of my head, for me, yeah, that would crack a smile from me if we got them guys in. And I think with Tammy Abrahams, it's interesting with him because I said this to Rowan when we did Lee Judge TV on my Talking Point show that, to be fair, Tammy Abrahams has actually been a good product of the loan system. In terms of he had a good time at Bristol City, scored a lot of goals. Had a good time at Aston Villa, scored a lot of goals in Championship. I don't really class Swansea because Swansea were a poor side when he was there. Got a bit of a chance at Chelsea, but then obviously kind of came out of the team. But he's gone to another country, worked on everything Marino's, worked under a top class manager, and had a fantastic season at Roma. Yes, you might look at their league position and go, "Oh, Roma 6, he scored all them goals," but Tammy's developed and he looks, and he's an Arsenal fan. So you know what? Sometimes in football, it's timing, and I'd be more on board with Tammy Abrahams now than I was a year ago. So I think time can change in football. Let me go back to the chat. I saw some good comments you guys dropped in. Where's it gone? Tariq, calls, brother, man. We'll sort something out. Don't worry, man. Any question? Cheers, bro. Albert, how do you think we would do next season? Top 4 Europa win would be on our target? Good question, mate. Great question. It's a strange one, mate, because I think for me, and I hope I'm wrong going into next season when I say what I'm about to say, I just think last season proved to me that Arsenal are not good enough to get Champions League qualification via the league. So it'd have to be the Europa League. My issue with the Europa League is, 1, you don't know what teams are going to drop out for the Champions League. And 2, us as all Arsenal fans, whatever age we are, Arsenal have only won 2 European trophies. So for Mikel Arteta to pull that off, then that'll bring in some serious kudos. But listen, I think our best chance is Europa League. But time will tell me. I hope that answered your question, bro. Good question. Go on, Fergus. What about Aaron's or Cresswell at Norwich? Cresswell, yeah. Because I know that Aaron Hickey, that's not, like, again, it comes down to who you believe in terms of a paper source, isn't it? I mean, I spoke to a couple of guys that watch a lot of Italian football, and they're not Arsenal fans, but big like John Sinclair and Colin. They just said despite Bologna's position, Aaron Hickey's had a very, very good season at Bologna. He's done very, very well. So I'm not sure how. Cresswell's a good shout. Aaron's is an interesting one because we were linked with him. I think if it's not 2 years ago, It's 3 seasons ago, and I think they're talking about 8 million at the time. That's before they came into the Premier League, Norwich. The I think the first time round. The first time round. Um, yeah. So Aaron's. We'll see. He's been touted around. I mean, they talked about Bayern Munich about 18 months ago with him. So time will tell. Time will tell. Cresswell's a good shout though. Let's hope he learns from his mistakes though, because I don't think the West Ham fans are still happy with him for giving away that getting sent off against Eintracht Frankfurt. Same thing twice. And then he signed a contract. Eddie could sign a contract too. Yeah, I saw before I came live. I saw the stuff about apparently Arsenal were offering Eddie one more chance to sign the contract. That's the thing. Like whether Arsenal fans like him or not, Arteta loves him. I don't. Me personally, I would cash in. I'd sell him personally. Yeah, it was if Leicester sell Tielemans, they will keep James. Yeah. James Madison. James Madison, you mean? Or are you talking about James Justin? But yeah, I'll take James Justin 100%. B. I love a young lady, fantastic ex-work colleague of mine. Love her to bits. B, how you saying? We're keeping on Eddie, giving Eddie 5 years, doing bought a few yanks. Listen, B, we'll have a conversation come before the season starts, and we'll see who Arsenal have actually bought in. Time will tell, man. Time will tell. I've seen Tam, what a player, 35 goals in one season. Yeah, listen, like I said, with Tam Abrahams, I wasn't convinced when the links happened time ago. But people got to remember that there's going on, people getting on their high horse on Twitter. Oh, but you people didn't rate Tam Abrahams. I said there were some people like that. But I think, let's be honest, Chelsea are not going to do business with Arsenal. Hence the reason why he went to Serie A and didn't stay in the Premier League. But there we go. People are going to wrap up soon. We're 46 minutes in. Jesus, man, it's flown. Off we get Tielemans and Leicester would play alongside Partey, or would it be Xhaka? Ooh. I mean, there's whispers about Xhaka. Could he still go? Be interesting. What I will say about Partey, Anthony, is when he got injured against Crystal Palace, wasn't he, away, right? And we've said, oh, he's not going to be out for a long time. When there was rumors of him coming back with about 4 or 5 games to go, I said, I don't want to see him play again this season. This is the issue we had with him when we bought him. When we bought him, he didn't have a preseason, and we don't have a preseason. That's going to set you back a long time. And then he's had muscle injuries, hip injuries. I think they said he missed 6 games in 5 years at Atletico Madrid. Arsenal has missed 28, 29 games. Kieran Tierney, another one. I love Kieran Tierney. Anybody that see me speak, actually, I love him. Scottish Braveheart, I call him. But if an offer came in, I would listen to it, because you can't depend on him. And we can't depend on him in a season where we've had less football. I said it at the time. When we played West Ham away, West Ham had played 11 more games than us. 11 more matches at that point of the season. If Arsenal played 11 more matches with that squad, we would have I think we'd have struggled to finish top 7, top 8. So time will tell, man. Partey needs to have. I'm glad I said I didn't want to see him come back this season. Let the guy have a preseason. Let him get right properly, and then hopefully it won't be a case of, let's be fair. To be honest with Kieran Tierney, he had a lot of injury problems at Celtic. I think he missed over 40 games for them. He's already missed over 50 for Arsenal. So that tells you everything you need to know. He's only 24. Mad, absolutely mad, mad. Partey may be sold. He's not been since. Fergus, you know what? In football, sometimes you have to be ruthless. And I love Kieran Tierney. And if it means Partey falls into that kind of slot where can we depend on him, you move him on. You move him on, and you bring someone else in. I don't do sentiment. You've probably seen with me in my channel since I've been doing it since June 2020. So listen, much I like a player, if the right offer came in, see you later. I think the way it's going with Eddie, he's probably end up going to stay. If it's anything to do with Arteta, Partey will not play a full season. It's a given. Yeah, you know what? We'll see. It'd be interesting to see, actually, because obviously the injury he has at the moment. Was it World Cup year next year, isn't it? So Yeah, we will definitely see. I mean, even Tierney's going to miss the playoff game. I didn't think he'd be fit for it anyway for Scotland, but he's going to miss it, isn't he? Yeah, I would. That's it. I think so. I must have mentioned it before I came to your comment, Russ. I would. I'll listen to offers. Listen, can't depend on him, man. One game a week, and we still missed him for loads and loads of games. I did read that Pepe going to West Ham for 30 million, and that money might be used to bring in Sterling. Pepe, I would be very, 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 very surprised. It's going to be a cut price deal because we're not going to recuperate that type of money for him. I'll be very surprised if he's here come the start of next season. I'll be very, very surprised. Just hasn't worked. Just hasn't worked. People in the chat, if you haven't got any more questions, but yeah, like I said, those are the players that I would like to see personally, but come in. And with all those players I've mentioned, the four that I mentioned, Tielemans, James Justin, Abrahams, and Jesus, the one thing they've all got in common, they're ready from the get-go. Played in the Premier League, know what it's all about. Don't need time to adjust. That's what we need, 100%. But people, before I wrap up, I want to say, I'm glad I've remembered to say it because I didn't want to forget. I want to thank the amazing subscribers to my channel, the support, the dedication, and I always say time is everything. When I started this journey back in June 2020, people had said to me before to get into, you should. I'm surprised you haven't got a YouTube channel. You know, you speak a little bit of sense when it comes to football. Apparently, you go to the games. I never really kind of put it off. I just kind of didn't really get around to it. But obviously, things in life happen, and here we are, sort of almost 2 years on now. I think it'd be 2 years come June 9th that I've had the YouTube channel. But I want to say massive thank you to the amazing support I've had. Collaborations from being given the opportunity by Dan and Lee on Lee Judges TV and Craig the Same Old Arsenal, Ferguson Trebs, Gangelo Ribbons, Tom Gunner Talk TV, Harry Simu, Chronicles of a Gooner, so many Highbury squad, Kevin Campbell, love Casey, man. To grow up and watch him play and you know, it's funny when I was when the game was done on Sunday, by the way, I was heading to the toilet and to meet a few people. Obviously, Kevin was coming towards me, and he recognized me. We just had a massive embrace and a hug, and he smelled fantastic as well. Great fragrance, Super Kev. It's mad to me to think the guy's hugging me like we're brothers, and I've known him for about 20, 30 years. Yeah, man, it's mad. It is. It's sometimes it's a kind of a pinch yourself moment, but yeah, big ups for the big opportunities and to be on bigger platforms. And yeah, I can't thank people enough, and big up the smaller YouTube community as well out there, man. Listen, there's some people doing some great stuff out there. G's in there, and the Cannon Chatter Boys. God, there's RJ, there's also Analyze Jake Clegg, there's Keith, there's Kesh, doesn't have a channel, but great views as always. There's so many people. International Gooners, Natalie Bermstein, Scott Borg, Neil, Dorica, sorry, Neil Dorica, got your surname right. And yeah, like, listen, man, the love for this club globally is insane. It's absolutely insane. And you know, from small little me who's got a little YouTube channel to reach out beyond the UK, England, to further afield is mind blowing to me to even turn around and say it. And yeah, man, I appreciate the support, you guys, man. So much love to you in the chat. Give yourself virtual claps and waves. But people, that is Albertjtv. End of season review. We'll be back. I've got another episode of Life Stories coming up soon. Big up to you for people that have embraced that and weekly surgery. Those are my sort of those are my two babies, and they've been received even better than I thought. In particular with Life Stories, the guests I've had on, it's been fantastic, man. Seriously. But no, I appreciate the support, and not too far off 1K subscribers. I think I'm about 50 off 50 or 48 or 50 subscribers off. RJ set me a challenge to do sort of get to 1K before the end of the season. Just a little bit shy, but if I sort of include before the start of the new season, I'll probably class that as this season. So still got a bit of time to hit the 1K mark. But listen, hopefully we'll get there soon. But people, big up to the people in the chat. Obliterate the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, as I always say, to my audio listeners on Spotify and Anchor, this will go out. So get those ears listening because it's coming soon, people. But yeah, big up to people in the chat. That is Albertjtv. Oh, someone said the same bye. Thank you, man. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for the heads up. Hopefully, I'll do some cheerleading for myself to get me over the 1K. But big up to the Instagram family, Twitter family, and also the YouTube community. The people, that is Albertjtv over and out. End of season review. I need a break. I need a reset from Arsenal, and look out for more Albertjtv content soon. Peace out, people.